Hi, this is Susan Kegley from Bees and Blooms. Today I want to talk about cold stratification for perennial flower seeds. It's mid-January and many gardeners are leafing through their gorgeously laid out seed catalogs with visions of beautiful yards and gardens running through their heads. You may think you have a lot of time to get seeds selected and ordered, but you may not. In order to sprout well, many perennial flower seeds need some time in wet and cold conditions, just like they would experience if they were growing outside in their native climate. This is a survival mechanism, as the seeds can't be sprouting at the first hint of warmth in the spring just to be knocked out by a killing frost the next week. One way to ensure your seeds get the chilling that they need is to plant the seed in the fall in the location where you want the flowers to be in the spring and summer. This is a relatively easy way to do it as long as you don't have competing weeds that will outgrow your desired plants or slugs that will eat tiny seedlings. The reality is that unless you start with soil with very few weed seeds and are absolutely militant about slug control, the weeds and slugs will win. The technique of cold stratification that we're going to talk about today is an alternate approach that provides seeds with an artificial winter under more controlled conditions. After the required chilling time, you can sprout them in trays from which they can be transplanted out after it warms up and they've grown big enough to ward off challenges from weeds and slugs. So let's get started. There's two ways to cold stratify. One solution is to wrap the seeds in a wet paper towel and put them in the refrigerator in a plastic bag. We'll start by wetting the paper towel, sprinkling some seeds onto the wet paper towel. And the paper towel should be damp but not totally soggy. We'll fold it up and put it into a Ziploc bag. Zip it up, and then don't forget to label the bag. Be sure to keep anyone with an inclination to clean your refrigerator away from your seeds with a strong warning. And don't forget to add the date. Finally, when you're finished, pop them in the fridge. Don't forget to check on them. Mark your calendar. The second approach is to go ahead and plant the seeds into your seed trays and put the trays in the fridge or outside, depending on your climate zone and the seed types. For plants native to Northern California, we can get away with simply letting the seeded trays sit outside in a protected area so they don't get hard rain for several weeks to a month. Plants that are native to colder climates often need a longer time of stratification, up to about 3 months for some. Let's do a few trays. There's several possibilities here for trays. One is to seed a flat, which is a tray that has not been divided up into cells. You would line your flat with some permeable material. I'm using row cover here. You can also use newspaper or an old t-shirt, something that water can make its way through fairly easily. The other possibility is to go ahead and seed directly into a tray that has different size cells. This is a 72 tray here. This is a 144 tray. They come in lots of different sizes. We prefer the 72s for most of what we do because it gives the plants enough nutrition to be able to hang out in the trays for up to about 8 weeks. That gives you a little flexibility in planting them out. If you're planting in really small celled trays, you're gonna have to do something with them, like pot up mostly, fairly soon after they sprout. They can probably stay in the trays up to maybe 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the plant. For flower seeds I've saved from the previous year and have plenty of, I prefer to plant them into a flat without cell divisions. You start by adding some seed starter mix. This is not potting soil, but seed starter mix. They're different, and the seed starter mix has minimal nutrients. You then wet it down really well to give your seeds a nice moist seed bed. Then get your seeds and sprinkle the seeds lightly and evenly over the tray. Try not to get too many in any one place. Spread them out if you need to. Then cover with a light layer of soil. If you have larger seeds, you may want to cover them a bit deeper to keep them moist. Then mist the tray. Be sure to label it with the name and the date, and you're done. So, if you want a good resource for looking up which seeds require stratification, I would recommend the Barbolian Fields website. The link is shown in the comments below. That's all for today. Happy seed starting!